I learned a long time ago that if you don't know what you stand on, you'll fall for anything, and let me tell you something, life will test you. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when one day you're gonna wake up, and the ground you thought was solid will start shaking. The plans you made will fall apart. The people you thought would always be there won't be. And in those moments, you can't be leaning on money, you can't be leaning on applause, you can't even be leaning on your own strength, because all of that can vanish in an instant. I'm talking about having an anchor, something unshakable, something eternal, something you can't buy and nobody can take away from you. That's why I say put God first, every single day, not just when things are bad, not just when you're desperate. Every day. See, we have this habit of calling on God like He's some emergency service only when the fire's burning, only when we're drowning. But what happens when the storms hit and you haven't built the relationship? You can't expect strength from someone you've never spoken to. You can't expect guidance from someone you've ignored. That's why you start now. You talk to Him in the quiet. You thank Him in the good. You lean on Him in the hard. Let me tell you, this world will try to convince you that you can do it all on your own, that if you grind hard enough, network wide enough, hustle long enough, you'll make it. And maybe you will, at least for a while. But when your body is tired, when the opportunities dry up, when the applause fades, who do you turn to? If all you've built is for yourself, you'll find yourself standing alone in a room full of trophies that can't hug you back. Putting God first is not about being perfect. It's about being aligned. It's about waking up and saying, I don't know what's coming today, but I know who's walking with me through it. It's about trusting that even when the plan changes, the purpose hasn't. And sometimes that's the hardest thing, trusting. Because we think we know best. We think the delay means denial. We think a closed door means we're being punished. But sometimes it's protection. Sometimes that rejection is God's way of saying, you're aiming too low, I have better for you, and you might not see it at first. In fact, it might hurt, it might break you down, but here's the thing. If you've put Him first, you know that breaking isn't the end. It's the beginning of a rebuild that's stronger, wiser, deeper. You start to see that the things you lost were never really yours to keep. The relationships, the jobs, the opportunities, they were all temporary tools to get you where you needed to be. But He's permanent. Now, I'm not telling you that putting God first means life will be easy. No. What I'm telling you is that it means you'll be equipped. It means when life knocks you flat, you won't stay down. It means when you succeed, you won't lose yourself in the praise, because you know you're not the source. You're the steward. Everything you have, every breath you take is a gift, and gifts aren't meant to be hoarded. They're meant to be used. When you put God first, it changes the way you work. You stop chasing validation from people who can't give you peace. You stop comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. You stop trying to prove your worth because you already know where it comes from. And suddenly, you're not just working for a paycheck. You're working with purpose. You're not just building a career. You're building a legacy. You'll start to notice doors opening that you never knocked on. You'll meet people you couldn't have found on your own. Opportunities will come that don't make sense on paper, and when that happens, you'll know. It wasn't luck, it wasn't coincidence. It was alignment, it was preparation meeting God's timing. I've seen people who had everything, money, fame, influence, lose it all in a heartbeat. And I've seen people who had nothing rise to heights nobody thought possible. The difference isn't always talent. The difference is foundation, because talent can open doors, but character built on the right foundation will keep you in the room. You have to decide right now what your foundation will be, because life will test it, success will test it. And if that foundation is built on applause, approval, or even your own ability, it won't last. But if it's built on something unshakable, you'll endure. You'll adapt. You'll rise again and again, no matter how many times you're knocked down. Putting God first is a daily choice. It's in the little decisions. It's in how you treat people who can't do anything for you. It's in whether you choose integrity when nobody's watching. It's in whether you give thanks before the blessing arrives, and when you live like that, aligned, anchored, aware, you stop needing the world's permission to shine. So if you want to change your life, really change it. Don't just focus on what you're chasing, focus on who you're following. Because when you follow the right one, you'll end up in the right place, at the right time, with the right people. And you won't just be successful, you'll be fulfilled. Put him first and watch what happens. You know, a lot of people don't take chances because they're afraid to fall. They're so focused on what could go wrong that they never even try. They stay on the sidelines, watching somebody else live the life they secretly wish they had. They tell themselves they're being careful, but really they're playing it safe because they don't want to look foolish. They don't want to fail, but here's the truth: failure is inevitable. You can't avoid it. If you live long enough and try hard enough, you will fall. That's a guarantee. The question isn't if you're going to fall. The question is asterisk, how asterisk you're going to fall. And that's why I say, fall forward. Falling forward means you don't just hit the ground and stay there. It means you fall in the direction of your goal. You fall in a way that moves you closer to where you want to be, even if it hurts. Because failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every lesson you need to learn is somewhere in that moment when things don't go your way. I've seen too many people hold themselves back because they were scared to make a mistake. And the irony is, they're making the biggest mistake of all, wasting their time. Time is the one thing you don't get back. You can lose money, you can lose opportunities, but you can get those back. You can't get back a year you never lived because you were too scared to take the shot. When you fall forward, you make your failure count. You take what you learned and you use it. You don't just keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. You don't get bitter, you get better. You ask yourself, what did this teach me? How can I apply it next time? Because there's always a next time. The people you look up to, the ones who have accomplished something worth talking about, they didn't get there by gliding over smooth roads. They've been through rough seasons, they've had doors slammed in their face, they've heard the word no so many times it could have broken them. But instead of letting it stop them, they kept moving forward, they learned from the rejection, they adjusted their approach, and they kept stepping toward the dream. Falling forward means you understand that every setback is an investment in your future if you handle it right. It means you value the lesson more than your pride, because pride will keep you from asking for help. Pride will keep you from admitting you were wrong. Dreams are beautiful, but dreams don't pay the bills. Dreams don't put food on the table. Dreams don't build themselves. You can sit in your room with a vision board. You can write your goals in the fanciest notebook you can find. You can talk about what you're going to do until the words run dry, but none of it matters without the grind. The truth is, you've got to hustle for what's yours, and not just when it's easy. Not just when you're feeling inspired. You've got to hustle when you're tired, when you're broke, when nobody's clapping, when it feels like nobody even notices you're trying. Because here's the thing, the world doesn't owe you anything. Life is not sitting around waiting to hand you a prize for showing up. You have to earn it. You have to push through the days when quitting looks more comfortable. You have to decide that no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you're getting back up. Discipline will take you where motivation can't. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning when the wind is trying to blow you out. Everybody loves the highlight reel, the red carpets, the victories, the celebrations, but nobody posts the 5 a.m. mornings, the nights you go to bed hungry because you're investing every dime into your vision, the sacrifices nobody sees. That's where the real work happens. That's where champions are made. Hustle is not glamorous. It's not about hashtags and slogans. It's about sweat. It's about doing the work when you don't feel like it. It's about putting in the hours when there's no immediate reward. And let me tell you something, if you're not willing to outwork everyone else, don't expect to outshine them. People talk about luck like success is some lottery, but if luck does show up at your door, you better be ready. And the only way you're ready is if you've been putting in the work before anyone was watching. Opportunity doesn't wait while you prepare. Opportunity comes to those who are already prepared. You don't rise to the level of your dreams, you fall to the level of your training. You've got to treat your dream like it's your responsibility, like if you don't make it happen, nobody else will. Because that's the truth, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you your dream wrapped in a bow. And that's not a bad thing, that's a blessing. Because when you fight for something, when you sweat for it, when you struggle for it, it means more to you. You value it, you protect it, you respect it. Now, let's be real, hustle doesn't mean you'll see results overnight. You might work for years before anything moves, but that's when you've got to dig in deeper. That's when you have to believe in the work, even when you don't see the fruit yet. Because the harvest always comes after the planting. You don't put a seed in the ground and expect a tree the next morning. You water it, you tend it, you protect it from storms. That's what hustle is, daily commitment to the process, even when the result feels far away. And you're going to have people who don't understand why you're working so hard. They'll tell you to relax, to take it easy, to stop pushing so much. But they don't see the vision you see. They don't feel the fire you feel. This is your life. This is your calling. And you've got to be willing to sacrifice some comfort now for the life you want later. You've got to be willing to say no to things that look good in the moment but pull you away from your goal. That's not easy, but that's what separates the dreamers from the doers. Sometimes hustle means being uncomfortable. It means being the first one to show up and the last one to leave. It means learning new skills when you'd rather be watching TV. It means saying, I don't know how yet, but I will figure it out. And every time you push yourself past what's easy, you're building something inside of you: resilience, grit, endurance. Those are the muscles that will carry you through the seasons when everything feels like it's falling apart. And here's another truth: hustle is not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about learning from mistakes, adapting, and finding better ways to move forward. It's about surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to be better, not people who keep you comfortable. Because the wrong crowd can slow you down faster than you think. You've got to protect your environment, your energy, and your time like they're gold, because they are. There's going to be temptation to cut corners, to look for shortcuts, to find the fastest, easiest way. But let me warn you, shortcuts cut your character. And character is the foundation of your success. If you cheat the process, you cheat yourself. Because the process isn't just about getting to the goal. It's about becoming the person who can handle the goal once you get there. And remember this, hustle isn't a season, it's a lifestyle. It's not something you turn on when you need the world we live in will tell you to chase the spotlight. To make sure everyone knows your name, to get your credit, to get your recognition, to make sure you're seen. But let me tell you something, if the only reason you want to shine is for yourself, that light won't last long. True success, the kind that matters, isn't about standing on top of the mountain screaming, "Look at me." It's about looking back down the mountain and pulling someone else up with you. It's about serving before you shine. When you lead with service, you're not just building a career, you're building a legacy. People might forget your titles, your awards, your money, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. They'll never forget the way you showed up for them when you didn't have to. You see, real greatness isn't about being important. It's about being useful. It's about using whatever you've been given, your time, your talent, your influence, to make somebody else's life better. And serving doesn't always mean some grand gesture. It doesn't always mean standing in front of a crowd or starting a foundation. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's as simple as listening when someone feels unheard, encouraging someone who's ready to give up, or giving your time when you could have been doing something for yourself. It's about giving without expecting anything in return. That's the real test, because anybody can give when they know they're going to get something back. But when you give with no strings attached, that's when it counts. There was a time in my life when I thought the only way to measure success was through what I achieved for myself. The roles I landed, the money I made, the places I traveled. But I started to notice something. Every time I helped someone else along the way, it did something for me that nothing else could. It filled a space inside me that success alone couldn't touch, because no matter how far you go, if you get there alone, the view feels emptier than you think. The truth is, the higher you climb, the more important service becomes. The spotlight is tempting, but it's blinding too. It can make you forget the people still in the shadows, and if you're not careful, you'll start believing that your success is all about you. But nothing you've achieved happened in isolation. Somebody helped you, mentored you, believed in you, opened a door for you. And if they didn't, then you know exactly how it feels to be overlooked, which means you have even more reason to make sure you don't let that happen to somebody else. Serving before you shine isn't weakness. It's not being less than. In fact, it takes more strength to lift others than it does to lift yourself. Because lifting others costs you something. Time, energy, resources, and most people aren't willing to pay that price. But if you make it a part of who you are, you'll realize it's not a loss. It's an investment in people. And people are the only investment that never truly loses value. You might be thinking, but if I keep giving, what if there's nothing left for me? Here's the beautiful part. The more you give, the more you grow. The more you serve, the more you strengthen parts of yourself you didn't even know you had. Serving builds patience, humility, empathy. It expands your perspective. It reminds you that the world is bigger than your little circle of comfort. And in a strange way, it circles back to you because the good you put out has a way of finding its way home. Sometimes the way you serve is by using your gift in a way that blesses others, not just benefits you. If you're a leader, serve by leading with integrity. If you're an artist, serve by creating something that moves people, that lifts them up. If you're a business person, serve by making decisions that value people over profit. The question isn't what can I get? The question is who can I help with what I've been given? And here's something I've learned. You don't wait until you've made it to serve. You serve where you are with what you have right now. If you can't give $100, give 10. If you can't give 10, give your time, give your kindness, give your attention. Don't wait until you're in the spotlight to start shining your light. Shine it now, even if it's just for one person. Because if you can't serve in the small places, you won't serve when the stage is big. There will be people who misunderstand your service. They'll think you're doing it to get ahead, to make yourself look good. Let them think what they want. You don't serve for applause. You serve because it's right. Because at the end of the day, when everything else fades, that's the only thing that will matter. Not the trophies, not the headlines, not the applause, but the difference you made in the lives you touched. And the truth is, service has a strange power that keeps you grounded. It keeps you from drifting too far into your own ego. Because every time you help someone else, you're reminded that, all right, here's asterisk, key point 5, keep moving, keep growing. Asterisk expanded into a full, flowing 950-word segment, keeping the same emotional depth, rhythm, and alignment with the rest of your speech. The moment you think you've arrived is the moment you start falling behind. Life doesn't stop moving. Time doesn't pause to let you celebrate for too long. The world keeps turning with or without you, and if you stand still, you'll find yourself watching opportunities pass by while you're holding on to yesterday's wins. That's why you've got to keep moving, keep growing, keep stretching yourself past the edges of what you already know. We get comfortable, that's the danger. Comfort is a warm blanket on a cold morning. It feels so good you don't want to let it go. But if you stay wrapped up in comfort too long, you'll miss what's waiting for you outside of it. Comfort can turn into a cage, and the thing about cages is you don't always notice you're in one until you see the open door you've been ignoring. Every single stage of your life will demand a different version of you. The person you were last year won't be enough for next year. The skills that got you here may not be enough to get you there, and the moment you decide, I've done enough, I know enough, I've grown enough, you've already started to shrink. Growth isn't something you outgrow. It's not a season you pass through. It's a lifetime commitment. Ingrowth isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's awkward. Sometimes it's lonely. Because growth means leaving behind old habits, old mindsets, even old relationships that no longer align with where you're going. That's not easy, but you can't carry everything with you and expect to climb higher at the same time. You've got to travel light if you want to keep moving. The truth is, life will test you. It will hand you challenges you didn't ask for, situations you didn't see coming. And if you've stopped growing, you won't be ready for them. But if you're committed to learning, to expanding, to staying open to change, you'll have the strength and the skill to adapt. And that's the key: adaptability. The world changes fast. If you're not willing to change with it, you'll get left behind. And let me tell you, growth takes work. You've got to feed your mind, read, listen, ask questions. Seek out people who know more than you. Stop being the smartest person in the room and start being the most teachable. Pride will keep you stagnant. Humility will keep you climbing, because the more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. I've met people who achieved something great early in life, and then they stopped. They spent the rest of their years polishing the same trophy, telling the same story about what they did 20 years ago. But you can't live off old victories. Yesterday's win is history. Today is a new fight, and tomorrow is another one. You can celebrate what you've done, but you can't stay there. You've got to keep moving forward. And here's the thing: growth isn't just about reaching goals. It's about becoming. It's about shaping yourself into someone who can handle bigger responsibilities, deeper relationships, greater challenges. It's about building a life that can't be shaken when the storms come, because the storms will come. And if you're standing still when they hit, you'll get knocked flat. But if you're moving, if you're growing, you'll bend without breaking, and you'll come out stronger on the other side. Sometimes growth means starting over. That's hard for people to accept. They think starting over means they failed. But there's no shame in going back to the beginning if it's taking you somewhere better. The greatest stories in history are filled with people who had the courage to pivot, to step out of what was familiar and into what was unknown. That's growth, that's movement, that's life. And it's not just about the big leaps. It's also about the small, steady steps. The decision to improve one thing every day, the choice to learn one new skill, to meet one new person, to push 1 inch past what's comfortable. Those inches add up, and one day you'll look back and realize you're standing in a place you couldn't have even imagined before. That's the power of continuous movement, but here's the part most people miss: growth isn't just for you. The more you grow, the more you have to give. The more you learn, the more you can teach. The stronger you get, the more people you can lift. When you keep moving, you're not just building a better life for yourself. You're creating a ripple that touches everyone around you. You become proof that it's possible, and sometimes that's the most powerful thing you can give to someone else: proof. Now, don't confuse movement with busyness. You can be busy all day and not move an inch closer to where you need to be. Movement is intentional. It's progress towards something that matters, and growth is the same. It's not about filling your days with noise. It's about filling them with purpose. Every step you take should be a step toward the person you're trying to become. There will be days you don't feel like moving. Days you want to stay right where you are, and that's when discipline comes in. That's when you push yourself, even if it's just one small step forward. Because if you stop completely, starting again gets harder every time. Momentum is a gift. Once you have it, protect it. Keep it alive, feed it every day. So wherever you are right now, ask yourself, am I growing, or am I just getting older? Am I moving toward the life I want, or am I standing still, hoping it will come to me? Because life doesn't bring the mountain to you. You've got to climb it, and the view is always worth the climb. Keep moving, keep growing, because the moment you stop is the moment you start losing what you've worked so hard to gain.